Democratic candidates praise labor and the Obama legacy, 2. Las Vegas former Housing Secretary Julian Castro insisted that on immigration matters, there's no comparison between Obama and Trump, okay? In response to a reporter's question, Senator Elizabeth Warren only briefly acknowledged past disagreements with the Obama administration before pivoting to praise former President Barack Obama's achievements on health care and protecting consumers. And Representative Seth Moulton of Massachusetts, who did not qualify for this past week's debates, swiped at some of his opponents who made the stage, saying they tried to tear down the Obama legacy to try and have a viral moment to qualify for the next debate. After several of the presidential candidates were critical of some policies overseen by Mr. Obama, who has a 90% approval rating among Democrats, at the debates in Detroit, the tone was strikingly different Saturday at the candidates' first major gathering since then. Along with courting union members at the forum, which drew 19 candidates to the conference of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees in Las Vegas, candidates also made clear that they had no interest in going after Mr. Obama, whether or not they embraced all of his policies. The result was a gathering that combined all the trappings of a major Democratic cattle call, old-style pro-union Democratic populism and a jolt of shock, sorrow, and anger as news of a mass shooting in El Paso, Texas, trickled out, which would come to dominate the later hours of the forum. A lot of injury, a lot of suffering in El Paso right now, said former Representative Beto O'Rourke, his voice cracking as he discussed his hometown before cutting his Las Vegas trip short to return there. El Paso is the Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Industry, began his remarks with the forceful declaration, "America is under attack. America is under," and Senator Kamala Harris of California linked the public service employees in attendance to those who would be responding in Texas. "It is you who do all the work and is going to do the responsive work about the shooting of El Paso," she said. "It's about the count." Several of the candidates who spoke earlier in the day would go on to deliver emotional appeals for combating gun violence in later statements, including former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr., who said he had tried to reach Mr. O'Rourke. Earlier, he set the tone for the pro-Obama messaging in his AFSCME appearance Saturday morning. Mr. Biden, who has a habit of going on tangents and fumbling his lines, gave among the most fluent and forceful remarks of his candidacy as he vigorously defended the Affordable Care Act, Mr. Obama's signature health care law, and advocated for strengthening it, rather than embracing a new system you like, he implied, Medicare for all. "We should be building on Obamacare, we should not scrap Obamacare," he said, rising to his feet as he addressed a cheering crowd. He also defended the Obama administration's record on health care and immigration, something he would continue to do, fiercely and energetically, throughout two other stops on Saturday, though he stopped short of accusing his opponents of criticizing Mr. Obama, an argument he had made following the debate. At AFSC, we tracked down the 2020 Democrats and asked them the same set of questions. And he explained his own opposition to decriminalizing illegal border crossings, a view that contrasts with several of his more liberal opponents. "It will be an invitation to come," he said of decriminalization, going on to add that he and Barack sought to increase the total amount of immigration and stressing his support for asylum seekers. Obama remains almost universally popular with Democrats, so it makes sense for Biden to position attacks on his support for Obama's policies as attacks against Obama himself, said David Axelrod, Mr. Obama's former chief strategist, even as he noted that Mr. Biden's strong standing in the African American community is linked to the sense that he always had Barack's back. He added that said, "You can overdo it and appear to be using Obama too much as a shield. And if you take this," Mr. Biden on Saturday morning addressed criticism that he had been selective about which elements of Mr. Obama's legacy he embraced, an argument Senator Cory Booker had made in their debate. I am not cherry-picking anything, he said. As someone once, Mr. Booker, for his part, defended their debate clash, telling reporters that even as they had sharp differences, especially on criminal justice matters, that was a very healthy exchange. It wasn't sucker, they were two of many presidential contenders to lay out campaign promises on issues ranging from labor to health care to immigration as they sought to court union members, a crucial constituency in this state and in the Democratic Party. Ms. Warren, an advocate for Medicare for All, a sweeping single-payer health care proposal, stressed that she would include union leaders in planning a transition to that system, amid arguments from some that many workers like the health insurance plans that are tied to their employers or unions. The first part of the transition, as I see it, is the unions are at the table, the senator from Massachusetts said. Nobody does anything. Asked if she would pledge to have a labor leader as her labor secretary, she exclaimed, "That's what I want." Senator Bernie Sanders did not commit to hiring a union leader as labor secretary, but said he would hire the best person for the job. The crowd did not, "I think on my feet, not on my backside," he said to laughter. There is no labor. Ms. Harris, for her part, said she would put in place a labor secretary who understands the dignity of work. At his final stop of the day, Mr. Biden talked about another administration position, sharing his thoughts on a potential vice president, in response to a question about selecting a female running mate if he is the Democratic nominee. He said he could think of 4 women right off the bat who he would consider asking to be vice president, some of whom are not running at all, are not engaged, they're not out there running, who in fact have the capacity to be President of the United States. In extensive remarks about what he would look for in a vice president, including shared philosophical outlook and trustworthiness, he later raised that number to a half dozen, but did not name names. Jennifer Medina contributed reporting.
Raindrop, drop